Hello everyone, I am Andy and I am back with another video on Pocket Incoming. This time we are looking at the skills of the new Pokemon in the bid war, which is Shiny Mega Metagross. First, we will take a look at the skills of the Pokemon and then we'll analyze its position in different teams and in which teams would benefit the most from this particular Pokemon. First, we have the passive, which says that the special defense and P defense in battle will not be less than the initial value of 70. It probably means that even if it suffers from debuffs, it will not reduce to less than 70% of its initial P defense and special defense. The next part says that every 100 points of anger is converted into 1 point of gravity value, up to 10 points because 1000 is the total anger, and a shield of 40% of the sum of the P defense and special defense is obtained. Each point of gravity will increase P defense and special defense by 5%. Now, this part of the passive suggests that this is a very tanky Pokemon, and the more this Pokemon is hit, the tankier it gets because it gets this gravity value. That means it will be a very efficient Pokemon in the front lines. This in turn will help protect your attackers, which are present just behind Shiny Mega Metagross. Next, we have the gravity field part of the passive, which says immune to displacement. I'm not entirely sure what this means. It probably means immune to the effects from opponent Shiny Metagross or something. Now, the next part of the passive says that when there is a gravity barrier, a gravity field will be generated and the damage that the Pokemon receives will be reduced by 15%. And for each point of gravity value, it will be reduced by an additional 3% of the total P defense and special defense, and the damage immunity cannot be ignored. Now, if you look at what is gravity barrier, this is also a special shield which does not decay, and due to this shield, 25% of the damage that is received by your steel or psychic type, here super actually means psychic type, teammate in the back row will be absorbed by the releaser. So what I think here will happen is that Shiny Mega Metagross will have the gravity barrier, and due to this gravity barrier, your psychic and steel teammates in the back row will resist 25% damage. That is, this 25% damage will be absorbed by Shiny Mega Metagross. Whereas, depending on the rage on Shiny Mega Metagross, it can have a damage reduction from 15% to almost 45%. So this gravity barrier gives your psychic and steel teammates a little bit of damage reduction and gives Shiny Mega Metagross a lot of damage reduction. The third part of the passive suggests that when psychic or steel teammates are actively attacked, then gravity deflection is triggered. In gravity deflection, what happens is 25% of the damage that is received by your psychic and steel teammates is reflected back to the enemy that dealt the damage in the first place. So in summary, just the 4-star passive gives damage reduction to your psychic and steel type teammates, gives a huge amount of damage reduction to Shiny Mega Metagross, and reflects some of the damage, that is 25% of the damage that is received by your psychic and steel teammates onto the enemy. Now at 6-star, you gain more gravity barriers. That is, when you have a steel shield, you get a gravity barrier. And then when you have a gravity barrier, half of the negative effects that you receive are actually converted into gravity values. Remember, each gravity value increases your P defense, special defense, which in turn means more damage reduction for your Shiny Mega Metagross. At 8-star, however, it gains another passive which is called Final Enlightenment, in which when Shiny Mega Metagross dies, it does 350% damage of the sum of P defense and special defense to the enemy. And for every gravity value that it possesses, it will do an additional 10% of the P defense and SP defense as bonus damage to the enemy. So this is like a last ditch attack, so that when it dies, it kind of takes the opponent with it if it has enough P defense and special defense. Now, as Shiny Mega Metagross is attacked, it gains rage, which is like gravity value, and when gravity value is full, it releases its ultimate skill, which is gravity control. And in this skill, it does 300% to 150% P attack damage. Not only that, it also gives the target an overweight debuff, which is a level 3 debuff, which reduces your speed by 9% and also reduces the rate at which it can regen its rage by almost 20%. It also disables the target from gaining P attack and special attack buffs and speed buffs. Now at 11 stars, this ultimate gives Shiny Mega Metagross some other buffs as well. These are Gravity Uncontrollable buff, Memory Metal Gravity Value, and Gravity Barrier. Basically, all of these give it more P defense and special defense and make it more tanky. The details are there right now on the screen and you can check them out. Next, we are taking a look at the second skill, which is basically a 180% P attack damage, creates the Gravity Barrier, which actually absorbs the damage or 25% damage from your teammates and makes Shiny Mega Metagross tanky. And it also, in the following round, it also reduces the damage taken by its Pokemon. I think that this means that it reduces the damage taken by Psychic and Steel teammates, but we'll have to see. And then the first skill, which is a simple skill which does 100% P attack damage, but it gains about 30% P defense and special defense for 2 rounds. So after reading the skills, it seems that Shiny Mega Metagross is mainly a tank Pokemon which should be present in your front lines. It'll make your Psychic and Steel type Pokemons more tanky. It can be useful in some cases where your enemy is like a glass cannon. By that, what I mean is maybe the enemy has a lot of attack but is not very defensive, like it's mainly attack focused. And if the enemy does a lot of damage and 25% of that damage is reflected back onto the enemy, that could potentially kill that particular unit and help you win 1v1 battles as well. Psychic type teams have a lot of different Pokemon which could be more useful, I guess, than Shiny Mega Metagross. And also, this is my personal opinion, but I don't think that Psychic teams will be meta anytime soon. So this Pokemon can be more of a collection Pokemon, or if you don't have any other good Pokemon, you can get it. However, Bid Wars are expensive, so use your diamonds with discretion. And with that, thank you so much for watching and see you next time.